Okay, I'm here on set with this new piece of gear here that I have not used before. It's from the Nanlux company. It is the Dyno 650C. Here's the case for this Nanlux. My colleague here said it took him 4 tries apparently to get this to fit in. It looks like a pretty nice case, but if it takes 4 tries to get the thing to go in there, that seems like not great. But this is a $3,700 light, so it's definitely designed to compete with Skypanel at a discount, but not a huge discount. One of the things you want to look for, I think, when you buy a piece of gear is whether the accessories for it are good. This is a Nanlux Softbox octagonal Dyno 650C. It has this egg crate, or LCD as we call them a lot of times. It looks brand new just about, but this was torn already. It's still largely usable, but it seems like it could tear again pretty easily. The other thing is that this speed ring type piece here, this piece that mounts on the front of the panel, it has all these pivoting arms that come off, and then the actual poles, the spring poles, there's so many of them and they very easily come dislodged from where they're supposed to attach to, and it was very difficult to put together. And these one of these bars flew across the room and hit the wall like an arrow. There are just so many of them, and until they're actually all in place, the whole thing is very precarious. It's very hard, I would say, for one person to do. Maybe with a bunch of practice it would be okay, but I was not impressed at all with this Softbox. The best you can say about it is that it's, you know, kind of a round, large source, which is soft. So, I mean, I have no doubt you could make some nice looking stuff with it, and the honeycomb would be effective, but it seems very light duty, difficult to use, not really ready for prime time on a pro set. It could be okay, I think, for an owner-operator that's familiar with its quirks, but it has a lot of them, in my opinion. So this is kind of what it looks like when you go to put it together, but you have no guarantee that these rods have been inserted where they belong down in there. So like, that might just all be lying down in there, like loose. And then the speed ring, it has these pieces that they just swing around. And so just getting everything engaged is a chore, and it feels very sketchy and potentially dangerous because these kind of sharp, skinny poles get under a lot of bending tension. I kid you not, it flew 15 feet across the room and hit the wall, and we had talent on set, and it was not cool. Here's the ballast for this thing. It's real skinny and long. Not much to it. It has a loop through for power and a switch. Then I'll show you this installed. They designed this piece that is designed to be able to fit on the column of a combo. It gives you a mounting point for that ballast. If you're familiar with a Skypanel, you know that it has mounting options to put it, you know, up on the fixture or to clamp it somewhere on the stand. I'll show you what this looks like. So here this is actually mounted in here. It just drops in. It's actually pretty cool, but I don't see any way that it would lock, which worries me a little bit. Somebody could bump this, and if they bumped it up from the bottom, it would dislodge it from there. So it's kind of cool in theory, and maybe that would never happen, but it makes me a little nervous that it doesn't lock in at all. Jury's out kind of for me on this. It's a cool idea. Haven't used it enough to know if I really like it for sure. Currently got it set up here with this 45-degree junior adapter, which just makes it a little easier to use with softboxes and stuff like that. If you look at it in form factor, it looks a lot like a Skypanel. It's basically the same size. I don't know the specs. I'm just giving you an impression from showing up on set and being told, here, this is what you need to use. It does have this nice color display, and then a series of buttons and knobs. You know, it's pretty straightforward. You know, I've got green magenta, I've got color temperature, and I've got brightness on these 3 knobs. Obviously they do other things in the menu functions. Also, it does have a DMX input here, DMX loop through or output. I did test it. It has a built-in lumen radio. The DMX port came in just fine. Its DMX profiles are the same as a Skypanel. So if you're using control software, it pretty much works just like a Skypanel, but it also has a lumen radio built in. I think if we look in the menu here, you can see it has lumen radio settings here, if you can read that. It can either be a receiver or a transmitter. It's actually pretty functional. It worked fine from my computer with a Rat Pack device. From what I do know about them so far, it was really a pretty good piece of kit. It's pretty bright, it's flexible, it does the things you generally would want a panel to do. I haven't really found any weaknesses. I might with more time. It does have an advantage over the Skypanel in that it has this lumen radio built in, because with the Skypanel you have to use this DMX input. So would I buy one of these things? Well, I'm not really in the market to buy equipment like this. I think the question is, would I have any problems with using this in the future? My main question would be what type of modifiers, because I was not a fan at all of the Octabox, but this panel in and of itself I've found pretty useful and really quite similar in many ways to a Skypanel, and it's pretty cool that it has the built-in lumen radio as well. Makes it a little easier to control. I don't think I would use this mount though, just because it doesn't lock in. It makes me a little nervous, but you know, it may be okay.